you rise for the pledge of allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Nancy, could we have roll call, please?
Trustee Roberts.
Here.
Trustee Grabowski.
Here.
Trustee Gergen. Here. Trustee Rhodey.
Here.
Trustee Belt. Here. Trustee Krasovich. Here. President Knutson.
Here.
Okay, public hearings, we have none. Item 3 is approval of the regular village board meeting dated January 16th, 2023. I hope everyone's had a chance to go through the minutes as presented this evening. Are there any questions, comments, or corrections? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve as presented then.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second, Rhodey.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is hereby adopted. Item 4 is citizen comments. Since we have no citizens here, we're going to just move on. Item 5, ordinances, we have none. Resolutions, we have none. And item 7, old business, we have none. Item 8, new business, discussion and possible action regarding strategic plan update process, budget allocation for survey tool. Who wants to handle this, Chris or?
I'll do it. I asked for this to be on the agenda tonight. So what I want to do is, first of all, just quick update and reminder of everyone what's gone on. Completed the environmental scan in Q1 of last year, but since a lot of things have changed, like Act 12 and the fire fee and some of those minor things, and of course, now that we're into 23, almost a year later, we'll need to update that document, which we can do, that's fine. But like I said, you've all gotten a copy, but it's going to have to be updated. The feedback sessions were completed in Q2. They are what they are, so no other work is needed on that. The third thing is the completion of the community survey. And Chris, Heather, and I met back in September to try and move that thing forward. Nothing's really happened since then, and quite honestly, getting the communication out for the fire fee was much more important. So trying to get the thing back on track. In January, we're trying to figure out a time for us to all get together to go over some things, but just in the delays it's taking to try and get that going, it's real clear that this isn't going to be done by April. And since I'm off the board in April, the first thing I asked Scott, I said, I think what we need to do is make sure that the board is interested in having me continue to take the lead on this. If you're not, that's fine. I'm sure I can find something else to do. But again, I think we need to kind of make that official. But the other thing too is that meeting where I presented some things back, I think it was in September, it was a budget, but as best either I or Scott could tell, a budget was never approved for it. And so what I wanted to find out also is, taking a look at those numbers again and at least giving us a budget to work with so we can move that thing forward. What we presented last September were some cost ranges based on some different things, and the high end was basically $6,500. So if the board is interested in having me continue working on this, and if we want to actually continue to do the community survey, what I'm going to ask for is that we're allocated a budget not to exceed $6,500 just so we can keep this thing moving. So that's what I'm throwing out there for everyone.
So two different motions we're looking for then, essentially, correct? The first one
Does
would
it have to be two?
I'd like to make a motion to have Craig Roberts to continue in the capacity as a citizen member past his trustee position.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are we still okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. And
And then the other piece was up to a $6,500 budget
Right.
for the survey. I'd like to make a motion that we allocate up to $6,500 for the survey in regard to the strategic planning offerings.
Just for a point of reference, what budget does that come out of?
To be the general fund.
That'd be general fund contingency or fund balance, and so it wasn't anything specifically allocated. Coming out of fund balance, out of the general fund.
It'd be an out-of-budget expense.
I estimate that we'll be able to do it for quite a
It'll be
bit,
less.
quite a bit less than that.
I'll second that motion then.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments? I just have a question. Craig, it's you and, how many are on your committee?
Well, it was Heather and Chris and myself that met in September. And that's what we're trying to get together.
Okay, you can't have 3.
Oh,
I was just gonna say, that's a
That's a negative
quorum.
quorum. And I believe
oh. I didn't-
you and Chris were appointed or asked to do this?
well, I guess going forward after April, it would be fine as you're a citizen member at that point, but until then.
We have a lot of work to do before
One
then,
needs to
actually.
cease involvement.
But yeah, Jeff's right. I mean, you have a walking quorum issue with 3 until you're not a member of this board anymore.
I think previously with that meeting, there was some sort of public notice that Cassie did. Is that correct? I remember there was a,
And that must be why we had to have staff involvement as well. So it does seem to add quite a bit of complexity and churn. Unless there's a benefit to having 3 involved.
I am happy to wait until April to be involved. I do believe that I can lend my design and print design experience to, as I've already gotten some estimates on this. So, but I can pass those on to you.
Well, yeah, if you want to forward that to me, that's great. Because when I did the estimates back in September, the tactics that I was recommending is that we utilize 2 lists, as long as we are able to do this. We can certainly get the voter registration list. That's pretty cheap. I know because we did for the fire fee, we can get the mailing list for the tax rolls. And what my thought was is that with at least the voter registration, there's a lot of email addresses already on there. I know just from work I've done in the past, you can take your list, send it out to a third-party service, get emails appended to it, with the idea that as much as possible, if we can do a mailer and send emails out, that now you've got 2 channels of communication to the same people, that should help with response rates. And then you separate those out so that if I got the 2 mailing lists, we can merge and purge so that we're only sending 1 mailer to each property. But that way we're getting not only the citizens, we're getting the businesses too. And
Or we can do every door direct and
no, we
take care of
can't.
it. Why not?
We addressed that with the fire fee thing because the way the post office sets that up is it's by carrier route.
Yeah,
And so when I went on the postal site, I looked at it. In order to do it, we either would have to include folks from the city, or we would have to not have people from the village included.
yeah, well,
And this is for the village.
well, I realize that it's for the village, but we would be missing some people doing it the other way as well. And if we end up sending a few to the city, it's not going to be a
It'd be
big
more than
deal.
a few. If you look at the maps on the postal site, it's large, and it's weird. It's not contiguous. It's large swaths.
I did look at that, but, you know, it seems to me like we could go back and forth on this.
Sounds like these are good discussions for the team to be having, separate from this
We
board.
have a motion and a second on
Right.
there right now, so just, why don't we table this discussion?
For the core group to discuss,
Yeah,
perhaps,
'cause-
yeah.
Right, we're going to vote on this particular, okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the money. Is there any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is hereby carried. Continue working on this, Craig and Chris, and get this as far as you can, as fast as you can.
Yeah, definitely, because we can't begin building out the plan until we have this done. So-
Right, so I appreciate that, thank
We
you.
got a lot of extra time now, so why don't you-
Yeah,
start knocking it out.
you know, I just won't be able to watch the soaps as much, so. you know, it's-
Okay, item B is discussion and possible action on special event permit application for the 2024 Kiwanis Beach Party. Looks pretty much the same as it did last year, but is there any changes?
The only question I have, and it's probably been every single year, I just happen to notice it, this is in the summary document about tent stakes in the road, but I'm not seeing anything in terms of the requirement where those have to be repaired when they pull up the stakes. Maybe they do it, it's understood, but
Yeah, they have been filling those back in with whatever pea gravel or whatever they put back in, but that point well noted, and I can certainly add in the approval letter, something to that effect.
yeah, I just want to make sure we, you know, if they're digging holes in the streets, we're fixing them.
Okay,
Make a motion to approve the special event permit for the beach party.
Second, Rhodey.
you have a motion and a second, further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is hereby carried. Discussion and possible action on temporary alcohol license for the 2024 Kiwanis Beach Party. Again, Scott, looks pretty much the same. Is there any other thing added to it?
No. Same.
Make a motion to approve the special event alcohol license.
Second, Krasovich.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Again, motion is hereby carried. Discussion and possible action on publishing a third time for the reserve transfer Class B intoxicating liquor license. I asked to have this put on because we still have that license, and I think there might have been some misunderstandings as to how this all came about. So I would like to have it put out there again to see if there is anybody interested in purchasing the alcohol license, and the only way to do that is to do what we're doing here, is to publish it.
I will make a motion to approve that as long as that it is, because I guess the confusion came about that we didn't clearly state before that the board has discretion regarding this license. So to somehow notify, either in the public notice or when applications are submitted, that with this license it is at board discretion. But a motion to approve the posting for the Class B license.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
And just to trustee Grabowski's point, I think Cassie and I did have a discussion about providing a copy of the ordinance to applicants when they,
Yeah, and we
What do we
amended
need?
the publication too, to just include some
Some
more
key
information.
language, okay.
Yeah.
And it's already been addressed. That's efficiency.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion is hereby carried. Discussion and action regarding date change regarding April 2nd, 2024 meeting date due to the election.
Didn't
Yes.
we create an ordinance that covered this about a year or so ago?
We did.
Oh, yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, I think you're right, now that you say that. Yeah, so, great, we'll do it on Wednesday.
No action?
I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that there was an election, and that we're gonna do that.
It's just habit, probably just pops up in your calendar.
Yeah.
Reminder, put this meeting date change on our agenda.
what are you thinking?
The third.
The 3rd?
It's gotta be the third.
Per ordinance, it has to be the third.
Yeah.
Is everybody okay with the 3rd, which is the Wednesday? Okay, then could I get a motion to do that?
Do we need to
We
do
don't,
that?
by ordinance, it's
We
automatic.
What's
have
that?
an ordinance on the books for it.
Yeah, there's already an ordinance.
Cassie was just testing her knowledge of ordinances,
Oh,
and Kelly passed with flying
passed it.
colors.
We all failed.
That's true. I really did fail.
okay.
What does the ordinance provide? Forgive my ignorance.
Holidays and election, if it falls on a board meeting night, we automatically
Okay.
move to
Go to
Wednesday.
the next meeting, or next
Next
business day.
Next business day? Okay.
Then we'll move on. Review a preliminary fourth quarter 2023 financial report. Scott?
Kayla's provided the information in the packets, so happy to field any questions or get back to board members if I don't have answers. Just to remind that the audit for 2023 is the last week of this month, and we are still processing payables through, I think, the end of next week. If we do get any lagging invoices, the 16th would be the last day that we post back for anything purchased in 23 and received in 23, but haven't received invoices. So again, that's the notation for the preliminary notice, the note on the fourth quarter financials. And we're anticipating budget or not budget, that'll start in July, but audit presentation, I believe, at the second meeting of June at this point.
Any questions as it applies to the budget? Here.
Scott, when we were going through the budgeting process, there were projections of a surplus at the end of this year. Ballparkish, where do you think we stand?
And when you say this year, specify.
23, at the end of 23.
Yeah, based on the numbers that,
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Please.
Were you recording us?
I don't know what happened. Stop. Keep trying.
yeah, based on the preliminary numbers
I know.
that Kayla has, we're looking at about, and again, it's very preliminary, 800,000 surplus at year end.
That's gone up. Will most of that be then going into the infrastructure fund?
Yeah, any surplus would go into fund balance, and of the overall fund balance, anything over 40% to operating budget would go into the infrastructure assignment. So based on preliminary numbers, I would anticipate that we will be adding funds to our infrastructure account.
So what's represented on here on the one report, being at 1.2, that's going to go up significantly then.
Yes.
Any other questions?
One more. The second document, miscellaneous revenues, obviously up significantly over budget, 444%. Is that mostly interest?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Kayla's been working on it, so.
Yeah, again, we budgeted very conservatively in the fall of 22 for 23 on interest rates, and I guess the one good thing about interest rates going up is it helps our non-property tax revenue.
Yes.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, then we're going to thank you, Scott and Cassie. Item G, discussion and possible action on committee appointments to Planning Commission citizen members to fill remainder of vacant terms, both ending April 30th of next year. Back in December of last year, I had one committee member retire due to conflicts. Them pretty much were not going to be able to make all the meetings. And so she resigned, and we started to look for members, and we had received very good applications for to fill that position. And I'd like to thank Scott and Craig for attending the meetings with me of these people that came in. And during the time we were talking, A second member, unfortunately slash fortunately, decided to retire also due to a new job change and doing a lot of traveling and just a lot of things going on in his life at this time. So he let us know on Friday that he was going to resign. So it kind of made my job a little bit easier because it came down to two extremely good candidates. They were all good candidates, but these two did have a lot going for both of them. They both came from public sector. The one worked, I believe it was in not Jefferson, but Johnson Creek. Janesville, and actually developed an area in their area, helped redevelop one, and also one came from the city of Waukesha, who worked close with our new DPW engineer, and they know each other, and she too did have a lot of back experience. So tonight I'm here to ask to please instate Katie Jalalik. Should I do them one at a time, or can I do them both at the same time?
It's up to you.
Okay, I'll do them both at the same time. And Samuel Liebert to be the new holders of the Planning Commission.
Motion to approve.
Second, Gergen.
Just a note for everyone, both of these would be finishing up the current term of both of the candidates that have stepped off, so they'll finish up the 1 year that's left, and then at that point, if they want to continue doing it, they can be reappointed, but that's what they're being approved for, is the finish up of a year.
They appear to be imminently qualified. Lucky
Oh,
to
they
have
are.
such good
Good
candidates.
skill set to bring into the
Yes.
planning
Yeah,
commission.
but backgrounds were impressive.
And it was almost a flip of the coin for the one position, because they were both extremely well suited for this position. So we have a motion. Did I get a second?
Heather,
Oh,
seconded.
thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Wait, don't we have a
Whoops,
discussion?
I'm sorry.
Don't we get discussion? After a motion, don't we get discussion?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, they seem to be qualified candidates. I'm going to be honest. I don't like that they both come from the public sector. We have our administrative staff here. I think these citizen roles should be to supplement the government workers that we already have to get more of that truly citizen feel and input. Again, I'm not saying that they're not qualified. Obviously, they have every right to sit on a board being citizens in Pewaukee. I guess I would have been fine with one of them, but the fact that we chose two that have that government background, I'm just not a big fan of that. I don't think that gives us a well-rounded board that we really should have.
Well, they're both out of the public sector at this
I
time.
know, but that's where their experience is, and that's where their knowledge base.
Well, actually, we saw that as a plus because the fact that the work that the Plan Commission does is in the public sector. And the thing with the Plan Commission, there's a lot of technical stuff you have to know. And you know, for like in the case of Sam, the fact that he's been on a Plan Commission, he's been an elected official, he's worked through the processes and understands what the role of a Plan Commission is. That's huge. Because I got to tell you, we've had challenges with some people on the Plan Commission where they don't understand what the role of the Plan Commission is. And with Katie, the fact, civil engineer, with the kind of developments that we've had, having someone with an understanding of that and the process that she's had to go through, going through plan commissions and things like that. We just thought those were very good skill sets to bring to the plan commission.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think, because
go ahead.
of the makeup of the current board, these would be the only two that are coming from the public sector, correct? Because you, Mark, Brian, who else is on there outside of you? Teresa Hoff, and well, there's the 7 members.
Your brother?
No, well, and.
Well,
and
us.
Oh, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. So the other 5 are from the private sector, so I guess it does semi-round out the board, just in terms of. But, I mean, I agree with Jeff and Craig in terms of the civil background, being a tremendous asset on that committee, just because it does play such a vital role, does look at, I mean, Kelly, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, this is more for the general public, but the amount of technical that needs to be examined when projects and such are coming in front of us, and so I think it does help to have that voice, and a voice from other communities, you know, because that's why, which will be coming soon, that's why we went out for that capstone project, is so that we can get an outside perspective, you know, so we're not just living in our Pewaukee bubble, but that's just, those are my.
Looks like Bob.
Yes, Bob.
While I share Trustee Belt's opinion on this, I do believe it is the discretion of the village president to make these recommendations. He is recommending these 2 people. I've been consistent throughout the process of committee selections. When the village president has suggested people, I go with his suggestions and I trust his judgment on this.
Thank you.
I feel that we're very lucky to have these 2 candidates, and we should leverage their expertise as much as we can.
And I have to say that, as I can't say anything more than what Craig has already said, having these 2 come in already knowing what they're going to be expected to do and what they can and can't do is going to be a very big plus in the coming months as we move forward on things in the village, proving hopefully more businesses and different things. I mean, there is some speculation or thought out there that the Planning Commission is a quasi-business adventure type situation where we go out and bring business in. No, we do, when the businesses come to us, that's when we get involved as far as how they're going to develop it, the new buildings and stuff like that. And some people that I've had in the past that have come to us wanting to be on the Planning Commission felt that that's what the commission did, was we actually went out and got the businesses and stuff like that, and it has nothing to do with us. So I'm happy to say that I feel that these 2 are going to be a very big plus to the commission, and here again, next year, if it's not working out, they're only here for 1 year, and if things aren't working out, they necessarily do not have to be reappointed. So, is there any other questions or comments? We do have a motion and a second to approve the 2, then I will say, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Motion is hereby carried with 1 nay. Again, item 9 is citizen comments. Again, we have no one here at this time. And item 10, closed session. The Village Board of Village Pewaukee under closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State 85 1C to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, specifically regarding a village administrator pursuant to Wisconsin statute sections 1885 1E for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, specifically regarding U.S. Cellular Tower Agreement. I will look for a motion to go into closed session, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second, Roberts.
Roll call vote.
Okay, Trustee Roberts,
Yes.
Trustee Grabowski,
Yes.
Trustee Gergen. Yes. Trustee Rhodey,
Yes.
Trustee Belt,
Yes.
Trustee Krasovich,
Yes.
President Knudsen.
Yes. We'll do the cell tower first. Okay, item 12, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn, Gergen.
Second, Roberts.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, everyone. We are hereby adjourned.
The Historical Society